Yeah.
It's harder than any Souls game.
I've heard that. And it's more like aggressive combat. It's more complex combat because you've got the stances. I've heard quite a bit about it. I just, like I said, ever since moving in with my girlfriend, I don't know if a Souls game is good for our relationship.
I didn't finish that game, and I think
Mm.
maybe it's because of my girlfriend. Huh.
We're just trying to keep the peace. Those games will
Yeah.
bring out the animal.
Yeah, but you mentioned a couple of times, and I was going to ask, your girlfriend has experience. It's a real life photographer.
Yeah.
Does it influence the way you do things?
Well, it's funny. I let's see here. Trying to think. So we were already together when I started virtual photography. Um, I thought that it was cool that she did photography, but I didn't really find a link at first. Um, what it actually happened was the opposite. I got into virtual photography because for so long I didn't have my own camera. Um, and I thought that like, hey, I like photography as an art form, but buying a camera is expensive. If I want to do it, I want to do it right. So I went from virtual photography to now I have a camera and I do real life photography with my girlfriend. We go out on trips sometimes and take photos, and she helps me with the technical aspect of it. Like, what button do you press to do this? Or, how do I balance the lighting here? How do I maintain this focus, like things like that. She'll help me with the technical aspects. But I actually started in virtual photography and then got into real life photography as an inspiration from that.
Did you do you sometimes are taking because I get that I only do it with my phone, but
Mm,
when I'm taking a photograph, sometimes I get like, oh, I wish this was on Spider-Man so I could like go higher or
yeah.
go around. Do you get that?
You can certainly feel the physical limitations of taking a real life photo, and especially, I'm someone who's still very much a novice for using a nice camera. Sometimes the technical aspect of it, like, do I have the right settings to even get the shot that I want? Um, if only I could just change the slider so I could increase depth of field. I have to know what f-stop is, and I have to know how to change it on the lens, and does it work with the shutter speed? Is it overexposed? It's definitely more complicated, and you can feel the limitations, but I certainly feel what you're saying. Like, I see that leaf up there. I would love to take a picture of that leaf if I could just be lifted up 10 feet in the air.
Do you feel like your real life experience since you started with this you said that you're a novice, so this little side thing that it improved your virtual photography in some ways?
The real life photography translating into virtual, is that what you're referring
Yep.
to?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them go hand in hand, but there are a lot of concepts of photography that translate to both. One would just be image composition and framing. I mean, that's how I kind of got a start in that with virtual photography. And then as I take real life photography, it's a different perspective because I don't have a free camera where I can go anywhere and just like get any angle and any object. Um, Sometimes like taking a simple photo of a leaf, for example, can inspire you in the video game to be like, well, maybe I want to take something similar to the real life photography. And I think I took photography classes in university as well. So learning the technical aspect of it, like what exactly does the aperture do, or what is the focal length? Like how can I study that? I use that knowledge definitely to influence my virtual photography. I mean, as I'm explaining it, I said earlier that I don't know what my style is, but I think as I try to explain it, I think I do. I mean, for me, um, I like really tight shots, so I like really zooming in so that it feels flat on the photo,
Yeah.
and then I love a high depth of field. I just those sorts of things. That's what I love to see.
And that's a style that I tried many times to get, but I just can't. I
And
can't get that style in the correct way. Like I look at my pictures. For example, you have a couple of Spider-Man swinging, and I try to do the same, but I look at them and it's not the same feeling. It's not the same way. I don't know. It's something is missing because my
mm,
style is it's like it's not zoomed in, it's zoomed out. So
yeah.
when I try to zoom in, it's different somehow.
And I have the opposite issue. I if I do like a wide angle kind of shot, I struggle to make the shot that I want. With Spider-Man, I experiment with it a little bit to like mess with proportions of like his body and things like that. I was very inspired by Fire Scorpio's kind of sets doing that. Um, it's funny. I didn't mention this at the beginning when you asked how I got into it, but Fire Scorpio has been like since I first joined Instagram, like my first 5 posts, he reached out to me and has been like a friend through the whole process, and a mentor. He's given me tips. He's told me like how to manage the social media aspect of it. He's always been a supporter of my work. So big shout out to Fire Scorpio, my man. Um, but
I
I
know
saw
the feeling.
his, yeah, exactly. He's a good guy. And when I saw his photos of Spider-Man, I started messing with the wide angle stuff. But for me, I like to zoom in and back away, and because I like that promotional photo look, I like it to look like it's something about the like the flatness of it is just it's very aesthetically pleasing to me.
But that's very much your style.
Yeah.
The promotional photo style is very much your style. I can see, and I don't usually do this, but something that I said in the intro is that your shots look really professional, and that's why. That's because I can take your shots out of your social media, put the logo of the game, and put it on a banner, and it's a marketing thing. And
Eh,
I really like that. I wish I could do that. I can.
Well, first of all, thank you so much because that's what look I'm going for all the time, and to see that that translates to what other people are seeing, I mean that just feels great. Yeah, I we just want to share our artwork, and to hear that anybody else appreciates it is just so awesome. So thank you for that.
Uh, so last question.
Okay,
What's the most important photo mode feature to have in the game?
that is difficult. Um,
You have time.
one,
Don't worry.
it's hard to say because there are so many important ones. Being someone who likes to shoot vertically, having a 90-degree tilt is very important. Um,
Oh, how do you feel about Red Dead?
I make it work. I take shots that I can. I have to crop it. I mean, I have to do the same thing with Arkham Knight as well. Um, and Arkham Knight's a real shame because I think they have a really good like aesthetically pleasing photo mode. I think they get depth of field like actually right. So many other games don't. But the 90-degree tilt just kills me because the game looks good, but I have to crop it and then it looks blurry. It's a whole mess. So that's important. Having depth of field in general is important because I think that's what changes it from looking like a photo or versus just a screenshot in game. I think having like actual good controls when you're doing it, when like the Marvel Avengers beta, that felt really weird to work with. They use
I
the
didn't
sticks to
play
go
it,
up and
but
down.
but
You have to
that's
click in the
the
sticks. It so
yeah,
that's
but
an important thing.
that's the reaction I've been getting from the beta is that people are finding it really hard to control and clunky.
Yeah. I found that as well. Hopefully they'll adjust that. But and then you have Ghost of Tsushima and Horizon Zero Dawn where you can change the time of day and really affect the lighting, which can open you up to so many possibilities. So let's see. Let's go with, because you know me, I like doing portraits. The 90-degree tilt for me is so important. I mean, if I could have at least had that for Devil May Cry, I would have given it so many more points
Yeah.
than what I already gave it. But yeah, that's the most important thing for me because when you want to take those vertical shots, and especially on a base PS4 where it's not a lot of resolution. You want as much as you can. So I I have to go with the 90-degree tilt.
That's so funny because I don't care about the 90 degrees tilt because my shots are mostly horizontal. I
Yeah.
don't do that many verticals, but that's so different from my own style. You mentioned depth of field, and for the longest time I didn't even knew what depth of field was. I
Mm.
That was like a taboo for me. I won't mess with this setting because I don't know what that does, and now I think it's the most important setting.
I mean, I love it. I'm a
Control.
sucker for it. In real life photography or anything, like lots of depth of field to really like focus, and it makes it three-dimensional. That's what's so cool about it.
Yep.
Because, you know, I like to take these flat shots, but then adding a depth of field, it makes the subject pop out more. And that's just I love that.
You have shots of Jedi Fallen Order, right?
I did have some shots of Jedi Fallen Order. I didn't take that many shots of it because at the time it was like the first version of the photo mode that like didn't have the 90-degree tilt, and then also like I'm running it on a base PS4, so like the shot quality I didn't think was that great on
Yep.
myself. I couldn't figure it out quite yet, so I didn't take that many shots, but I do have some.
that the way that they presented the controls of the depth of field with the blue wall,
Hmm.
like putting the blue wall, and when you go back you can see where it's focusing, and it's
Yeah.
distorting the thing that is behind the blue wall. I think that was never done after, and it's so cool. It got me to understand what depth of field is and how it works.
Yeah, that's a really helpful tool. And actually, I think Wipeout, the like racing game, does something similar where it actually shows you a little grid of where it's focused, and you can specifically look at, okay, I have it focused on the driver's window, or I have it focused on this engine. Um, that game has a really cool photo mode. It's
Huh,
kind of
cool.
clunky and like weird to work with, but that's just a really fun game. If you ever find Wipeout the Omega Collection on PSN store for cheap, like it's a must buy. It's the
I have
soundtrack
it.
is amazing.
I have it for free. It was on PS Plus,
Yeah,
but
I had no idea.
I downloaded it, but I never opened it. So maybe I will
I'm
test it
a
out.
I I'm a big fan of F-Zero, the old Nintendo game, and they
That's
haven't cared
old.
about F-Zero in so long. I mean, people think Captain Falcon is a Smash character, and he's not from his own game. But I love those kinds of games and those futuristic racing games. And Wipeout to me is like it's F-Zero in so many ways. And I just wanted to
Huh.
play it, and then I hit pause because I had to get up and do something, and I saw photo mode, and I was like, "What? You've got to be kidding me!" And then I took a lot of fun shots with that. Um, there is quite a few people on Twitter that are really into Wipeout. Stainless Steel Dudist Priest is the one that
Yeah.
comes to mind. He's
The
a big
Ford
fan.
Focus run
Yeah,
a competition on it. Lady
yeah.
Snapshot, Broken Opus, Opus.
I think it's Opus.
I think it's Opus. Also did some cool shots. I
Yeah, I
remember
think I
back.
joined that competition.
Yeah, that competition was really great because the game was free on PS Plus.
Exactly. So quality game. If anyone has any wants a recommendation for a game, get that. It's not very expensive, and also if you got it for free, it's you have no excuse not to play it. It's so good.
And it's three games for the price of one.
Yeah,
It's a
and
mega
they look
collection.
amazing.
They I have to play that.
One
Huh.
is a
I
PS
was
Vita game that they remastered, and it looks better than like the PS3 one. It's crazy. They've done. It's
huh.
just amazing, and the soundtrack is.
I'm
If you're into techno or like electronic music, it's very cool.
I'm actually looking for a game to kill the time
Yeah,
between my, because I'm not buying any game. At least
yeah,
I wish I'm not buying any game. This might change in a while until the PS5 comes out.
true.
And since I have that for free, maybe I will jump in.
It is a good kill time game. And then later on, you'll get quite a challenge because it gets much, much harder later in the game. But it's just fun. It's one of those games where you're like, wow, this is crazy, and it goes so fast. When you first boot it up, you're gonna think it's like breakneck speed. But then as you progress through the game, the speed goes higher and higher and higher, and it's just nearly uncontrollable. It's madness, but it's so fun.
I will play that. Thank you for the
Fantastic.
suggestion. And that was it. That was the whole interview. I hope you have fun. I know I
Yeah,
had.
same.
Guys, thank you so much for watching until the end. I will see you all next week.